Thanks for joining us once again for the City of Maple Grove Report. I'm Dave Kaiser from CCX Media, joined with Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator. Welcome once again.
Thank you.
We have a meeting from March 6th to talk about an hour 15 work session before that we'll mention as well. And lots of things coming up in the city that Heidi has lots of notes on, so we'll keep you up to date of some of the activities you might want to get involved in. Back to the 6th of March, there was a closed session that happened at the beginning of the night for the council, a long night for the council members.
Yes.
What was the content of that first session?
Yes, we had a closed session to talk about the Lifetime facility potential acquisition there, so we remain in discussion with them, and so this was an opportunity for the council to kind of review what that might look like. So more to come on that one as we move through those negotiations.
Very good. And then for the work session itself, 2 items covered. One was on the city goals as you look ahead, city, code enforcement, and housing. Tell us a little bit about the goal and some of the discussion.
Yeah, so part of our 22 to 2024 goals was trying to take a look at our code enforcement services that we provide at the city, and kind of looking at our aging, commercial industrial areas, as well as some of our neighborhoods, and kind of the volume of code enforcement issues that we've been dealing with. And so wanting to take a look at both, our code language and making sure if there's anything that we want to tweak there to tighten things up, and then possibly the potential to add some additional code enforcement staff. We just continue to see kind of the volume of that kind of complaint-based enforcement go up. We are complaint-based, so we don't go out and do proactive work. Sometimes there's, in the commercial areas, we will get involved a little bit more proactively there, where we see, commercial areas falling apart, that kind of a thing. So good discussion there. We'll look for more discussion about adding some staff capacity in that code enforcement area, as well as potentially having some code changes come forward there. On the rental, the other side of it was really kind of focused on kind of rental housing and housing policy. As you know, we have currently a moratorium in place on new rental licenses for single entry homes, so single family homes, condos, townhomes, those types of things that are single entry type units. Really taking a look at our program, our licensing program. So we've made some changes to our fee schedule associated with our rental licensing program. As part of this last year's budget, we added a fire inspector position. So we're going to be shifting some of that apartment rental licensing work over to the fire department. They're in those buildings anyway, so there's some efficiencies to be gained there. And then with that code enforcement position that we're talking about, a little more involvement on the housing side opportunity there with adding some capacity. So some things we're going to look at in our code about our rental licensing in terms of, one of the things we really struggle with is if we have a home that's owned by a corporate entity and they aren't local, really kind of getting their attention in terms of paying attention to, responding to issues of, upkeep at the home or any tenant issues at the home. We really struggle when that property management company is either non-responsive or not available out of state. So looking at some opportunities there to make sure that there's a local presence for some property management and how those things are managed. So probably look for some code changes to come forward there, but good discussion on all those fronts and good progress both on kind of how we're running those programs, policy, as well as looking at the staffing there. The other, go ahead. Yep,
second item on the work session related to a potential land acquisition, and this is something that Park and Rec is interested in up along 610.
Yeah.
Some beautiful land there.
There is. So this is kind of one of those that's sort of opportunistic opportunity as development is happening in and around the area. So this is the area just kind of north of Menards and that what will be south of the 610 extension as that road gets constructed across the field out there to the west. We have an couple apartment projects that are happening up in that area, and then there's a small area that's part of our tree preservation area. It was identified as kind of conservancy park, so more kind of passive use type park, more preservation type area. Working with the developer, they're open to selling a portion of that. There's some wetland we would get along with that as well, and so wanted to review that opportunity with the council and see if they were interested in, taking watching that now as that developer's moving through that process. And so council very open to that, so we will put together a purchase agreement and that'll come back to the council at a future date.
All right, we'll revisit that once again. Now to the agenda on the 6th, again about an hour and 15 in length. One item pulled from consent that related to the park board appointment, and one member leaving and a new member coming on.
Yeah, so some recognition for Deb Koss, who resigned from the board. She had been serving with us for the past couple of years. She formerly worked for the city, of course, and so went through a recruitment process and selected Krista Coonley to serve on the Park and Recreation Board, and her term will go through the end of 2025. So she was with us that evening, and welcome to the Park Board.
Very good. To the presentations, it's the time of the year where some of the people from the Capitol come down and say a few words, and this was the case with Senator Warren Limmer came and gave a presentation. Recap that for us. Yeah,
so Senator Limmer was with us for kind of an update on what's happening at the session, and certainly he's been tracking our Maple Grove specific legislative proposals. So we have a state bonding request in for the community center project. We're looking for some transportation funding dollars for the 169 Elm Creek Boulevard interchange, as well as a sales tax exemption on the North Metro Regional Public Safety Training Facility project. So he's been helping with all of those and advancing them, and looks like we might have a hearing coming up in the coming weeks on some of the transportation funding. So in addition to that, you know, things that are important to the city, certainly the legalization of marijuana as that moves through the process. We really feel it's important to have some local control there in terms of where those businesses are located, how many that could be in a city, and then our ability to do, you know, compliance checks there, just to make sure that those products aren't being sold to minors. And so the bill as it currently stands doesn't have much in it for cities in terms of local control, and so we continue to advocate for that. You know, at the end of the day, our law enforcement will be involved in any enforcement or issues that are present in the community. So much like liquor or tobacco, we just think it's important that cities have a role in how this is handled in our communities. So we continue to monitor that. Some bills out there on the election front that would make some changes to how absentee voting is conducted, maybe lengthening those times, lengthening the hours and the availability of that. And you know, we really struggle to staff elections the way it is today. You know, getting election judges to help us out, and so some concerns about extending those hours. You know, with kind of the challenge in staffing and honestly, you know, the cost as well that would increase to cities of some of those provisions. So we continue to weigh in on those things that have direct impacts to us here at the city, and of course the senator is always a great resource for us to help represent the city down to the Capitol.
Very good. Let's move to the public hearings. 2 public hearings held at the meeting on the 6th. The first was a relation to a business, Pizza Karma, which is under some new ownership, and they have to go through a process.
Yes, so this is, you know, every time we have an ownership change, it's basically issuing a new liquor license. So this was for on-sale wine and 3-2 malt liquor license for MGPK Holding LLC, and of course this is the Pizza Karma location over at the Fountains.
Okay, second public hearing was a long item of the evening, about 50 minutes of discussion, and this is an annual occurrence around street reconstruction. Tell us about the areas and some of the discussion held.
Yeah, so this is our annual street rehabilitation program public hearing. Happens every year about this time of year. Just kind of looking back, it was about last May that we approved the new 5-year program. So we try to take it in 5-year increments and identify those neighborhoods that we're going to be in within that 5-year time frame to do that road reconstruction work. At the time that we're considering that 5-year plan, information goes out to our residents that will be impacted by that, letting them know kind of the plan for when we'll be in their neighborhood and what how that process will play out, what those assessments might look like. As you may know, we assess our program for doing street reconstruction is we assess half of the road cost is assessed to the property owner, and then half is paid by the city, the general levy. And then any utility costs or stormwater costs, those are borne by those utility funds and covered there. So the resident is really paying for that 50% of that road portion there. So got information out to all those residents earlier in the winter here to let them know that we'll be having this hearing on March 6th, and kind of make sure that they have an opportunity to provide any comment there, as well as, you know, we're really interested that if a neighborhood is experiencing, drainage issues, and we certainly know we're going to be in some of the older neighborhoods kind of off of Hemlock south of 694 this year. A lot of drainage issues down there. So we always try to take that opportunity to make sure we're plugging in some storm improvements there so that those kind of issues can be solved when we're out there. In addition, when we're in older neighborhoods, a lot of times we're replacing water main and those types of things.
Right.
So once we open the street up, we try to take care of anything that needs to be replaced out there. So a lot of moving pieces to projects like this, and certainly impactful to people's lives as we move through their neighborhoods with that road reconstruction. So yeah, probably 8, 9, 10 residents spoke at the hearing. A lot of questions about the drainage issues, as I mentioned, just kind of, how the assessment process works. We, provide the opportunity to assess that over 20 years to your taxes. Can be paid up front or can be paid off at any time. And that just gets worked into your tax bill. So good questions here, and good opportunity to provide information to the public. Again, if you are in one of these areas and you have specific concerns about your lot, whether it be, sprinklers or dog fences or anything like that, drainage issues, we just encourage you to reach out to the engineering department. They kind of keep a running track of everything that they're hearing about, or we certainly keep track of all those issues as well as we're out doing general maintenance. And then, opportunity to roll those things into the project and make sure that we're addressing them as we go forward. So again, anytime, feel free to reach out to the engineering department and make sure you talk to staff and get those issues on the radar.
Very good. One final item covered was the Bella Woods Planned Unit Development Concept Stage Plan, and this hopped a little bit around the agenda because of what happened the last time.
Yeah, so this was on our council agenda last time. Resolution now comes back to approve this. This is a concept stage development approval for a neighborhood out kind of in the County Road 101 north of 101st Avenue area. This one was approved on a 3-2 vote, so then just came back to the regular agenda for its concept stage approval, allowing that 3-2 vote to carry forward.
Very good. Few staff updates given at the end of the meeting. First from Community and Economic Development, Housing for All. That legislative breakfast is coming up this very week.
Yeah, so Friday morning. This one's going to be an online legislative breakfast, but it's an opportunity to talk about the various housing needs in the community and share that information with our legislators.
Quick update from Public Works was all about snow. So how did we do with the last big snowfall, and are we still ready for more?
Yeah, I think it's gone surprisingly well. Just a lot of great feedback on our social media about the work that's been done. We've been putting in a lot of hours just to keep the roads clear and passable, and then, take the opportunity in the interim here to either haul away snow or wing it back or whatnot. We're always, fighting between the trails and the road kind of a thing, but I think things look like they're in pretty good shape right now as we're here on Wednesday and staring down likely more snow over the next few days. So we'll use this time to get ready and make sure we have places to put it. But just a huge thank you to our Public Works crews. They've really done a great job this winter, and I know it's very appreciated by the community and the council.
Certainly is. Final note from the meeting, you had a couple updates of some legislative events coming up. Again, it is that time of the year.
It is. Legislative breakfast and day at the Capitol, all those types of things going on. So this Thursday, we will be at the Capitol for the League of Minnesota Cities Day on the Hill. The League does put on kind of a day-long legislative seminar, lots of updates, legislators come speak. So it's an opportunity for us to then follow up with our legislators and talk about issues that are on our radar. On March 15th, it'll be North Metro Mayors Association Day at the Capitol. So this is, again, another opportunity for to meet with those legislators that represent those North Metro Mayors cities and talk about the issues that are on that specific legislative agenda.
All right. Let's move to now some things happening around the community as we wrap up the meeting from the 6th. Here's some of the things coming up that you might want to get involved in. The Arbor Committee is busy, first with some new members and also with a big event coming up.
Yeah, so 2 new members joined the Arbor Committee, Darlene Lindgren and Apechka Karki. So we're very grateful for them joining. They were able to do their oath of office on March 9th. And then looking ahead, we do have the annual Arbor Day event on Saturday, April 29th. That's held at the Community Center from noon to 3 p.m. Lots of fun and educational activities for the whole family that day.
Last time we were together, we previewed some events coming up, some big banquets for the fire and police department. Now we've got a little recap. Sounds like some very nice events.
Yeah, so we always try to take some time during these winter months to honor those that serve this community. And so we gathered to recognize the Police Reserve Unit on that Friday evening. In 2022, our reserve officers contributed over 1,000 hours of service to assist the police department in providing public safety services to the community. You'll see these folks out at, Maple Grove Days, other events where they're helping with traffic control or general public safety assistance. So really appreciative of their service. And we also had the opportunity to recognize two long-serving reserve unit members who are retiring. So Tim Woodbury has served for over 15 years and has provided a total of over 3,000 volunteer hours. And then Mike Galvin served over 10 years with a total of over 1,000 volunteer hours. So really dedicated service to the community. We're grateful for their contributions, and so it was a nice opportunity to thank them for that service. The following night we had the Maple Grove Fire Relief Association annual dinner, and that's an opportunity to thank that paid on-call staff that serves this community, provide years of service recognition for those at their 5, 10, 15, and 20 milestones in their service. And then this year some new fire awards were provided, and this was the first year of the Michael Piter Fire Service Achievement Award. If you remember, Captain Mike Piter was a firefighter for us, but also full-time at St. Paul. He died of cancer a few years ago, and it was a fire service related death. And so we continue to keep Mike's spirit and memory alive in the department with kind of his work ethic and his bright attitude that he brought to his work every day. And so this year, firefighter Sam Kitzman was recognized as the Mike Piter Fire Service Achievement Award, and his wife, Mike's wife, Julie, was there to help recognize Sam for his service, and we really appreciate that, and it's great to keep this alive every year.
Let's now move ahead to some things coming up in the community that you might want to get involved in. If you have young ones or maybe not so young ones, they might need a car seat, and there's some help to make sure it's the right seat.
Yeah, so we have 2 dates coming up, Tuesday, March 28th and Thursday, April 13th. Both are from 4 to 7, and they're at the fire station 2, the one right off of Weaver Lake there. And then clinics are free, but appointments are required, and appointments take about 30 to 45 minutes each. And so we have you call 763-581-3743 to schedule that appointment, or you can also, just give a call up to the police department and they'll get you connected to the right folks.
Great. It's the time of the year the city is doing a lot of hiring of seasonal employees for Park and Rec and for Public Works. Tell us again a little bit about the jobs and how people can find out more.
Yeah, lots of opportunities for seasonal employment with the city and Public Works and Park and Recreation. Varied, work opportunities there, as well as indoor, outdoor positions. Okay. Some part-time, some full-time. So we really encourage people to check it out, especially, if you have a kid coming home from college for the summer, looking for something to do, or maybe even an older high schooler that's looking for something for the summer. Really encourage folks to check out the city website for some really great seasonal jobs.
All right, Community Center Project, that's where a lot of these jobs circulate, and that project is moving ahead on a couple fronts. Give us an update there.
Yeah, so we continue to move through these few months here of trying to settle some of these critical path items. We mentioned, the lifetime discussions that are continuing on. Working with the Department of Revenue, got our notice into them and all of the documentation required. So the effective date for the half-cent sales tax is April 1, 2023. So that will go into effect in the city of Maple Grove, and it's applied, of course, the same way any other sales tax items are applied in the city. We did move through a process to select an architecture and engineering firm to help us through the design and then construction process. We'll be working with JLG Architects. You'll see a contract for them come back to the council here either later in March or early April. And then we continue to keep the Growing Together Maple Grove maplegrove.org website updated with current information about kind of the status of the project, the funding, those types of things, and we'll continue to use that as we move through design and construction as well. So that project continues to edge forward.
Yeah, lots of news there. Go to that website to find out more. A few other Park and Rec items to talk about. The Parks and Rec Activity Guide is out on the website, and a date of March 24th is one to remember to get involved.
Yeah, so those registrations open on March 24th for all of those programs. Encourage folks to get out to the website and take a look at what the offerings are for this spring.
Lots of fun going on. Here's another note that you might not think about yet, but get ready here because you might need to reserve a park area for maybe a graduation event or something else during the summer, and the city can help out.
Yeah, we have lots of space available for folks that are thinking about reserving a space. The various picnic pavilions, the Eagle Lake building, the Pheno Pavilion at Central Park, and we do reservations for those all online now, so real easy to get to that through our city website. And then, of course, the Town Green Meeting Room and birthday parties at the community center, we're working on getting those available online as well, but those are available to the community.
All right, don't wait, get your spot reserved. Here's a fun event coming up, first time as we understand it. It's called Rock Your Socks. Tell us more.
Yeah, so this is celebrating World Down Syndrome Awareness Day with a free event at the community center on Tuesday, March 21st. All of ages are invited to attend. March 21 is symbolic because people with Down syndrome have 3 copies of their 21st chromosome. So brightly colored mismatched socks are worn this day because chromosomes under a microscope look like a pair of socks. And so come join the fun from 4 to 7. There'll be carnival style games, music, and more.
Yeah, lots of fun there. Also fun at the farmers market. They're still indoors for a couple more times in March.
Yeah, so we've got March 16th and March 30th from 3 to 6 p.m. at the community center. We have over 20 vendors that come for our indoor winter markets, and then we'll be looking to get outside by the middle of May.
All right, if you notice a lot of traffic and a lot of skates around the city of Maple Grove coming up the end of this month, early next month, that's because you have a big hockey tournament coming up. What's happening?
Yeah, so the Maple Grove Community Center is hosting the USA Hockey Youth Tier 2 18U National Championship. That's from March 30th to April 3rd. Teams from all over the country will be in town to compete. We're really excited about this opportunity and grateful Experience Maple Grove was a big part of helping to bring this tournament to town.
All right, get ready for some hockey fun. The Sports Dome, this is the time of the year that is still in heavy use, but unfortunately for those that like the inside part of this, it's coming to an end sometime soon. What's the latest on that date, and also what are some repairs that are necessary?
Yeah, so our date for tear down of the dome would be the week of April 24th. So we have probably about 6 more weeks here of dome time, which is good because the fields are all snow covered and appear to be for a while. So we'll keep that dome up through the week of April 24th. And then in the off season, staff will be working on the replacement of the dome fabric. Dome fabric has a life expectancy of about 10 to 13 years, and ours is at the 12-year mark and in need of replacement. So that'll be a nice improvement for when the dome goes up in the fall.
Final notes to pass along about a great community partner. Cross Services does a lot for the Maple Grove area, and they have a couple special events coming up, one this week and one next week. What's happening?
Yeah, so Fill the Truck on Sunday, March 12th. Cross will be at the Cub in Maple Grove from noon to 4 p.m. Everyone is invited to stop by and drop off shelf stable food donations, so kind of more canned boxed products, that type of thing. And then the Empty Bowls on Thursday, March 16th from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Church of the Open Door in Maple Grove. This is an annual event for the community to come out and enjoy some food and support Cross Services. And again, Cross Services is a nonprofit that's available for residents here in Maple Grove, provides food shelf and then sort of wraparound services for folks that are dealing with difficulty with either employment, housing, other social services. And so we really encourage people to reach out to Cross if they have a need.
Very good, and hopefully attend those events. Heidi, thanks so much again for your time, all the updates from the city. Let's leave you with some contact information for the city. We've mentioned a lot today in the last 20 minutes, so maplegrovemn.gov at the bottom of the screen where you want to go to find out more about some of the topics we've covered, some of those events that might be coming up. Next council meeting, Monday, March 20th at 7:30 at the Government Center. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us on the City of Maple Grove Report.